exactly the 10th year of me founding TPlays.
I'm not even a decade old yet.
And let's find it out together. Tea is meant to be zen, to slow ourselves down. Can break the tea bag and see what I was drinking.
But why 4 grams?
So good question. I also wonder, 8 grams of tea is killing us. Like take centuries to educate the market.
And do you have an exit plan for your business?
My little boat will eventually arrive to the destination.
Hi everyone, welcome to Asian Business Owner Podcast, BOSS for short. With the changing economy, especially after pandemic, do you ever wonder why business lifespan is getting shorter? Do you ever wonder what causes it? Are you one of the business owners who are in the midst trying to figure a way out? Or are you intending to start your own business venture believing that everything will work out but somehow you feel something is missing? Or do you want to start a business however, you do not know what to go for? If you have all these questions on the list that I mentioned earlier, or many more that I have not mentioned, then we are here to fill the gap.
Hi, this is Joe.
Hi, this is Ben. Today we're welcoming a guest from an industry that many might hesitate to step into. One item that's steeped in centuries of history, culture, and tradition. Are we talking about coffee, tea, or me? Well, definitely not me. I'm not even a decade old yet. So instead, we are thrilled to have Siyi, the visionary owner of TPlays, who is reshaping the world of tea or Chinese tea for a new generation. Siyi, could you kick things off with a short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Ben and Joe, for having me today. And I always would like to share about us and about the journey of my entrepreneurship with TPlays. Actually, this year is exactly the 10th year of me founding TPlays. And a short introduction about myself. Siyi, originally from China. 4 years ago, our whole family moved to Singapore, and I brought my TPlays in Singapore, reaching out to the Western world. And the whole journey started. So I am a very typical brand entrepreneur from the field, or my background was in the brand management, where I started to find that in the whole Chinese tea area, we have a lot of different categories based on the origins of the tea, like 西湖龙井, Anxi Tietguanyin. We have brilliant raw materials shipped to the US, to EU as raw materials, building great brands like TWG, like Tig Schwentner, and many more. But never we have ever had a commercial brand of Chinese tea. And in 2016, when I was actually the time was traced back to 2014, where I was still working in the Mannheim, Heidelberg area. And I found actually, because I actually grew up drinking tea. I grew up in Shenzhen, most of the times drinking pu'er and oolong tea, like especially the fenghuang dancong is a very, very aromatic oolong tea. And while the time I was working in Germany, I tried all kinds of tea brands on the shelf I could possibly find, and I like to break the tea bag and see what I was drinking. But I find that it's very difficult to identify if it's green tea or oolong, if it's pu'er. And then I started to understand that the notion of tea is completely different from the Western point of view, based on the English tea culture. So the whole English tea culture, or the Western point of view, the tea is a beverage, is a drink, is industrial, it's ultra processed food or beverage that meant to be convenient and fast. But on the contrary, from the Western or the Oriental philosophy, even we will call it tea or culture, tea is meant to be zen, to slow ourselves down and to be poised. And that's where I find that there is a big room for Chinese tea culture to be a commercial tea brand. And based on my expertise as well, studying and working in Europe, helping a lot of Dutch brands, German brands in their way of go-to-market strategies. And then I could clearly see that there is a potential there. So I dug into the industry. I found out that, okay, so tea as a raw material, China produces nearly 50% of the world's tea, but actually only 2% can be exported due to the very big problem, which is the heavy metals and pesticides. So I found out that, okay, if Chinese teas are going global, the number one threshold we had to solve is actually the food safety. People are meant for health to drink tea, and we don't want to drink dissolvable pesticides along the way. So that was my first pillar of the values founding TPlays, organic tea. And then secondly, I find that Chinese teas are so complicated for ordinary any drinkers, even for Chinese people. How many grams of tea we should use, how long we should be steeping, and then what will be the temperature to for the tea to steep, and then so I started in 2004 in 2014 April I started a Mannheim tea meetup in Mannheim area, Mannheim Heidelberg area, and wanting to kind of have more consumer insights about how the Westerns would take Chinese tea. So I shared every session, I share a lot of my Chinese tea samples brought back from different areas of China. And then every time, so this whole group from hosting the tea party at home until in eight months' time, this has grown into a big community covering 4 cities of 286 people across 14
That's amazing.
Yeah, so this experience also, I thought this was just a market study, but then this has reversely enriched myself to learn how different cultures drink tea and how tea is far beyond a Camellia sinensis tea plant in the Chinese notion. And then I could see from Bulgarians how they use different high mountain flowers into tea, how the Indian cultures use different spices as we cook meat, right, into the tea. All the ways started to form my second pillar of TPlays, which is fun. So because tea has been so traditionally seen, especially in the Oriental world, it's packed usually in the red metal tin and then consumed with a very, elaborated tea ceremony or the teaware. So how to make Chinese tea also as convenient as a tea bag, but still keeping the artisanal way of consuming it? That was my question to solve. So then in 2016, I had clearer and clearer my inner voice, how TPlays should be built around the Oriental tea culture. So I went back. So I quit my life contract in Germany. Actually, my contract was until 2054, until my retirement. And then I quit Germany and then went back to Shanghai. I spent the next 3 years and I went through 11 factories with a hand sketch of my first prototype, which is called tea bonbons. So my idea was to make tea as portionable little balls of 4 grams of tea and different herbs and flowers, just as how Westerns would take. They don't categorize tea as, okay, today I drink oolong, tomorrow I drink white tea. They have no idea of what white tea, oolong, and pu'er is. But everyone care to have a refreshment, to care to have a brainstorming moment, or have a relaxing night or calming night to restore ourselves. So in this way, I have crafted or reimagined the Chinese tea and into the Western way of the tea bonbons, 4 grams of the blends of tea and different herbs to target different moods of a day. And we wrap them into a candy shape. So that's why it's called tea bonbons, to brighten up a day, to give the joy to the tea. Yeah.
So see, might ask, all these innovations, probably you are trying to attract a new group of young generation to try Chinese traditional tea. Is that the goal that you're looking at?
It's an innovative Chinese tea brand. And we pack the teas into the formats of candy shape called tea bonbons, or into press the Chinese teas into like chocolate bars and pack them into postcards, making Chinese teas shareable, portionable, and shareable, and have the daily delight for the urban population. The goal is two goals. One is the touch and feel the mood of taking the Chinese tea. Instead of having it as a traditional ritual, we want to bring the, like better mood, the joy, the happiness. That's why we call it too fun to be tea, right? The second is more functional, to try to make Chinese teas portionable, because over different cultures, it's very hard for them to know how many grams of tea we should take if it's in loose leaf form. That's why yeah.
But why 4 gram? Is there a science behind it?
Yes. So initially we started with 5 grams, and then based on 老茶客, like the very traditional tea drinkers in China, it's usually 8 grams of tea. And I studied tea in a institute, in proper 中茶所, like China institution of the tea. And over the years, the more I get into the tea science, the more I want to get out. So it's interesting. I feel like it's a very good foundation for me to pave the way, but it's still too traditional that is not thinking from the consumer point of view. So for all young generations, 8 grams of tea is killing us. Like I grew up drinking my grandpa's like Chinese medicine. I find that's just simply too strong, too condensed for us. And that's the reason why people are so much into bubble teas and the latte. Similarly to tea, milk tea, they're ultimately drinking milk and sugar. And the latte is much more popular than a clear specialty Americano or espresso because of the milk.
Okay, so that means that the 4 gram basically is for individual consumption measurement, right?
Yes, and then also it's much lighter. And if you long steep the tea, it doesn't get bitter or siap. Yeah, that's the main point of having them into 4 grams. We tested first for 5 grams, and then we ended up in 4 grams.
Wow, very interesting story that you have just shared with us. Yeah, I didn't know. It just made me realize that tea is actually both an art, science plus culture, probably.
In fact, to add on to that, I think that preserving culture heritage is an urgent call these days. Yeah, especially when the pace is moving very fast, and many youngs do not have the patience for tradition culture at all. Yes, I still remember that when I was young, I do see my dad, doing those clay pot with a clay cup kind of thing, pouring the tea for us, and the first pour, usually the first pour you won't drink. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the idea of all this, and it's pretty fun when we were young, looking at my dad, doing all these kind of things. So when I grew up, I think that was about like 20 years back. I still had the or quite expensive pot that I actually bought anyway, and we try it among our family. It's just that as time goes by, and we are also busy and rushing for time, and all this somehow was being buried in the past. Yeah. But however, when you experience it, I realize one thing is that you do cultivate characters, you cultivate patience, you cultivate the way you view things while we're enjoying the tea and the process. And the key thing is that right now I realize the items that you are producing right now are not so much in the process. It's more towards the instant enjoyment that they can have at this point of time. Then are you looking into like, okay, after the instant tea they enjoy, then probably it can lead them to more traditional way of appreciating Chinese tea?
I think it's a bit like positioning traditional culture is not about I that's my view. Depending on your target audience, it's not about keeping it the most authentic way because more often than not, your target audience will not understand it, and it would take centuries to educate the market. And this is a long progress that
Yeah.
a startup we are not able to do. And that's also one of the reasons you see how Chinese food in Amsterdam, in San Francisco, they are in that specific way. They're not 100% authentic, but they represent Chinese food because that's the way that how the Western population.
Right.
Correct. You
So
have
when
to
you talk
adapt to their
about
palate. Yeah.
but so when you talk about tea bomb bomb and your tea bar, kind of a concept, how does all this product idea come about?
It's about consumer insights. I think so.
Mhm.
Every art still has a science behind, still has the algorithm behind, and how to do products, how to do innovations that can be able to, or is marketable innovation instead of 自嗨, right? Like we think brilliant idea, but it doesn't sell. So we've been through that process as well. And then now TPlays is about T plus X. And at this is the different forms of how we TPlays play with the things, but then X is needs to be something very, very is a very common ordinary X, like the thing that people can quickly understand, and it has a very big use on the market. That's why we have combined it with candies, which has also emotional value, and at the same time, everyone from their youth or from their childhood has had the experience. So it brings delight. It helps us to enhance the brand spirit, and at the same time, people knows how to use it. Postcards the same. People know postcard, and we have by crafting the tea into a postcard format, we're quickly finding already identified the channels to sell the travel retail where postcards are usually are. So identifying the X, it also help us to identify where the channels and then the marketing strategy and then the tone of voice and everything. So everything needs to be aligned so that this X would work. I can give you an example of previously, especially for more, I would say like Chinese market is extremely difficult. And I think that helps me as an individual entrepreneur to grow so much because people are extremely, let's say, aware of the cost of the products because we're very close to the supply chain. So there's no BS over there. There's no branding over there. Everything the consumers will think, how much does it cost from the material point of view, from the the supply chain perspective. And we have done one innovation, which is the on-ball tea. It's also very interesting example because Ambao tea is a big success in Singapore, but it was a very bad project in China. Because the eggs we have chosen, thinking to combine the Chinese culture, targeting the CNY time, the Anbao is just too cheap from consumers' perspective. So this eggs cannot bring the tea value up. Instead, it drags it down. So then no one is willing to pay $24, 24 RMB even for an Anbao because Anbao is just like 5 kuai thing. So then from the trial and errors, we get to test out, get a better probability of success in finding how to find the eggs. Yeah.
Which market are you in right now?
China is still our first market, like the best performing market. And Singapore next. And then last month, we just entered into the US market.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, back to the Anbao. Yeah, no, just back to the Anbao idea again. So I think for China market, if you happen to have a lucky draw, they come along with it. Probably it will help to boost the sales instead of just promote as Anbao. What do you think?
We simply this product in China because it doesn't in China ideas most of the times, especially in our industry, in our category, the creativity doesn't, like people will not pay the premium for the creativity for the brand. Anbao is Anbao. You give me stack of Anbao and then putting a tea inside. Okay, tell me how much is per gram of the tea. Yeah, it's very rational.
Maybe you can find, maybe if one of them can find a gold bar in a tea, probably that make a different story. Yeah, there'll be one gold bar in one of this Anbao. So try your luck. Okay. Anyway, there's some things I'm always very curious about that. For wine, they actually have different category. We have like the commercial wine, then you have the reserve, you have the vintage. So based on my knowledge of tea, I realized that Chinese tea used to have this kind of different category as well. So do you have the kind of different category for your product based on the taste?
Based on taste, we categorize our brand into organic and blends. Still, we look at our brand very much from the Western point of view. The core is Chinese tea, but still how is very much from the Western point of view. That's why we organic is very much tailored or like specializing into our strength, which is the Yunnan tea. And then it's a lot about the heritage and Yunnan stories. And blends is about the destination stories because we blend in like Nanyang flavors, like we blend in pandan, lemongrass, ginger, and then we also the orchid black teas. So depends on the market we're in, then we blend in the inspirations and the flavors from the local market. So we have these two lines. We're not really much into like from the design point of view. Yeah.
Okay. So which is harder, convincing people to try or promoting the product?
I think it shouldn't be either because a consumer market, a product that wins, it needs to sell by itself. And promoting marketing is just the multiplication of traffic. If the product is not right, if it doesn't have the product market fit first, no matter how much you promote it, you're just consuming, so the ROI is low. So I think the consumer insight, that's why in our brand is the key here for different markets. What particular occasions sells. I can give you an example of our success in China with the postcard tea is actually tailoring this product to as a Teacher's Day present. a Teacher's Day's gift. So the product market fit is that because in China 90% is actually e-commerce. And through Tmall, 小红书 and Douyin. So first a few years we've starting to get very good numbers or good sales on Tmall. And the product market fit is that during the Teacher's Day, everyone is giving your teachers or your child's teacher the gifts. And if it's a bulky gift or like too valuables, the teachers would just return it. They don't dare to receive it. And then our postcard tee is that it's so small, like this, and then you're able to write the child, they can write some very personalized wishes, Teacher's Day's wishes to their teacher. And after they have written it, they're not able to return it. You know, on e-commerce, return rate, like the product return rate, normally for this category is above even 20%. And our T is around 2 point something percent. Because after your kids has written on it, even the teachers would not take it. They cannot return it, right? But of course, the teacher will not decline something so sweet from their child, and especially it's just from the first sight, just a card.
It's
And
beautiful packaging.
and then the aha moment, when you open it, then the teacher, to their surprise, they can still use it. 10 pieces of the tea inside. It's even practical. They can drink it for 10 days in such a small envelope. So everything here, and for the teachers, every day they have to shout even for a long time. And a cup of tea is so soothing. That's why this product was a hit. And we got even imitated or copied 3 years ago by Costa Coffee.
Right.
And
well, I got to confess, I have not been using postcard for many, many years. So do you think that the postcard idea will work here in Singapore?
The second product market fit is actually at the Changi Airport, where this print, greetings from Singapore. Yeah, this
That is the reason why you have it in all the tourist attractions. You're retailing there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why my question to your my answer to your previous question is like marketing, promotion, how to persuade people to test, and everything is just secondary. And if the product is right, they sell by itself. And when we move to different, for example, the first 4 years, we are twofolds, threefolds growing on the Tmall, 小红书. And in this period of time, we are the category number 2, number 3. And then last year, we were very bold to get into Douyin, because Douyin is a much more competitive, and also you get to sell with videos. And we had not touched on to videos before. So it was a very, let's say, challenging things for our whole team. But still, we were very confident, because changing different platforms, even bigger platforms, is just a matter of multiplication of the traffic. But the product market fit is there, then everyone is going to push it because they know it sells. Then quickly you have like thousands of KOLs selling this every day. Yeah. So I think also the similar thing as the Changi Airport. If of course, having promoters there for the traditional business model helps, but still, if the product market fit is not there, you're gonna have 2 or 3 promoters, and the efficiency is lower. Yeah.
Right. So that means that with the product that we have on hand, it have to be in the right place at the right time with the correct audience. Yeah. But the question is this, right? How do you derive, or how do you find the evidence and the signal to test try the product or the project or to launch the projects?
Our team all goes with the lean startup theory. So it's all about prototype with very specific TA, and we test it out with minimum budget of advertising to see how is and then A/B testing to see even which banner works. So that's like very much like e-commerce way of understanding it, and it's also the lowest cost way to find the product market fit to see which project is like viable. And then when the online testing is through, then we'll have the products or the project run through different offline channels or like potentially like distributions, because we are already 100% sure this is not because we're LV, because we're Chanel itself. It's because the product market fit is there. So everyone working with us will make money. Then, yeah, it's the time we can start to roll it out. Yeah.
I'm curious about your US market penetration. So which product do you think will gain traction over there?
That's a so good question. I also wonder. And let's find it out together. Well, I have to say, with our company's way of doing things, we first have shipped 2,000 this like business confidentiality. Well, I don't know, like we just shipped like minimum or minimum quantity of the goods to the Amazon FBA, like fulfillment by Amazon. And then these are just serve as the samples, and we just shipped from our gut common sense, like sharing like love, yeah, like love and joy, sharing love and joy, or best teacher, whatever like works for Teachers Day, for Mother's Day, for Thanksgiving, for birthday, whatever. We just send their 12 SKUs in the warehouse, and then we start to run collaborations with KOLs. And then depending on, we will give the different directions for the KOLs to try out. And then with the content, then we will start to get the figures and to see. So same thing, like same logic as we have done. I have explained from previous questions. And I just came back from the US actually for the past so I was there in California, LA, and then San Francisco for 2 weeks. And the way how I have work out the strategy is two ways. One is to find industry potential buyers or people who can get us into targeted supermarkets or retailers. And then I had arranged meetings with them and went there with the samples, and then we directly look for, because they are just veterans, right? Like they know just by just looking at all the samples, and from all the different formats of our TPlays products, they have just picked the postcard tea. Yeah, and then I know, okay, well, then it's a bit easier, a bit oriented. Then we know, okay, we will work out the US versions covers from the postcard tea and the next, because I always have a vision for my brand, TPlays at different cities, at San Francisco, at LA, at Barcelona. TPlays working with the local artists. And because even for the Teachers' Days, we are not the designers by ourselves. We work with 2 schools in Yunnan, in remote countrysides, in the mountains, and then we let them to draw out what they want to say to their teachers. So every year for the past 6 years, that's also one of the reasons why it was a hit, because it was so genuine. It was just very touching for a lot of parents to see the countryside, their perspective of what they want to say to the teachers. And then for the past 6 years, we always contribute 3% of our postcards teas sales back to these two schools.
The Red Cross, right? You
Yeah,
also
and then
do charity with the Red Cross, right?
6 years. Yeah. In the beginning, we were just giving back to the two families. And then the second year, we were doing the same until it was like, wow, it's starting to be serious and we don't want to give money to the kids. They might start to see the thing in a different way. Then we started to work from the third year onwards. We started to work with NGOs and then to plan the money in a better way, how to kind of how to land the real like art programs and the workshops, and then to deliver art toolkits to the 6 different villages. So more organized way so that it can be beneficial to more people, more bigger range of the schools and kids. And then last year we helped them to build the individual toilets in the schools, and we fixed their ventilation, now fix a bit the classrooms. So we can see that as our business grows, and then the thing we can do also year by year snowballs, and that's the very very, very rewarding thing. Every year we start to plan with whom we're landing the projects, and also the school, the headmasters, they're like extremely happy. Yeah.
That's good work you're doing there.
It's so much fun actually. It drives not only me as an individual, but also drives my team, and they can see what they are doing is meaningful. Yeah.
What are the values that you're inculcating in your team members?
I think that's the most important question. I think as a brand, what you manifest, exteriorize is what you are as a core in the company, the culture and everything. So I think in the past we had very superficial values as we hold too fun to be tea. And the people I recruit are fun fighters, like very young, creative, and love just doing creative work. And they're happy souls, like fun souls. And then as the project grows, as I grow up also, I start to have deeper and deeper understanding in this topic. And then we have the second thing, which is authenticity. So what we are doing, especially in organic, we are pushed for I don't know how many times the raw materials have to lower the cost so that our raw materials can be non-organic as well. Especially in China, this is a very, very niche market to target organic and holds true to organic for 10 years. And then also you are facing fierce competition through 30 RMB cheaper than you for exactly the same thing. And the parents actually do not care if it's organic or non-organic. They're not buying even for themselves, So this is so important to be 己所不欲，勿施于人. Like think that.
Yeah, do not want to do onto yourself, do not do it onto others. Yeah.
Okay. So if we internally we are happy to drink our tea, then this is the product to go. And we cannot just go non-organic, because in the food business there's no threshold. It will always start to deteriorate, right? And so 2 years ago when I was back, so in the 8th year when I was back in Shanghai and having a team meeting, and I was trying to draw what are the keywords from internally, what do they see TPlays, and then why they're still here in the company. And then our designer, which is actually a fun fighter, I recruited her. Also she's much younger, like Gen Z or yeah. And then she said, I'm proud that we have the best tea in the market. So as a designer,
Wow.
I'm working on the packaging and creativity. I'm just also she was not a tea drinker at all. She drinks milk tea, drinks coffee, drink everything but Chinese tea. But now when we test the product, like do the R&D, she's the one that because I always call Xiaobai, like it has to test with the non-tea drinkers to on our product launch. And then we always call her because she has the very, like young taste buds. And then she's the one said that because our tea is really the best. And then I feel that's the right way, although it cannot externalize, you cannot see how good is the tea from outside. But especially as a gifting brand, this is the threshold we really have to hold tight up on. Yeah.
Right.
So that
I'm interested to buy. Do you
Yes.
ship to Japan?
Cool. So you got one container of order from Joe. Awesome. Hey, anyway, see, I got this couple of questions that I think many business owner would like to know as well. Yeah. So you don't mind, I start with number one, which is that talking about the market expansion. So what are the factors that make you decide to venture into a new market? Is it because of market size, trend, or lesser competition?
ceiling is always the market ceiling or the scalability is number one parameter we see. Second is the consumers. So consumer behavior wise and the positioning of the brand, if we are suitable to go there. For example, Indonesia is a great market, but probably at this point of time is not the right market for us because of our brand's positioning. So these two parameters, the first.
You know, that remind me of one old story that we studied in management, which is that this true company sending two salespeople to look into this country in Africa. And one salesman come back and reported that, okay, they won't have any market or opportunity at all because people there don't wear any shoes. Then the second one actually went in and come back with a report of totally opposite. I think there's huge opportunity because no one is wearing shoes. So the question is this, right? Who is right?
It depends on if the second guy is selling shoes, then yeah, that's the market go.
Anyway, to me, I think that there's no right or wrong answer to that question, because end of the day that if there's not anyone wearing shoes, then probably a lot of effort and investment had to be invested in order to promote the idea of wearing shoes. Yeah. So likewise, I think when venture into a new market, I think a lot of investment needed as well. Yeah. So just out of curiosity, so how much of the percentage on your capital have been invested into the new market?
Yeah, right now it's still around 5 to 10% because we grow as just now I was mentioning as a startup, we grow in a very cautious and discreet way with lean startup. So we don't need a lot of huge investment at first. We will first find the tipping point and then we will continue to invest if it's if there's good
Okay. In within this decade, as a professional CGO, Chief Growth Officer, which I actually help a couple of companies, and I realized that the market had been competitive compared to 2 decades ago or even 3 decades ago. All right. And do you rework on your company direction in every 3 to 5 years? Because no matter how high or how low the market entry that will be, there will be competition. Does it affect your directions?
We're still so small that nothing is macroeconomic level would affect us. We're a tiny fish, and we're happy to just keep growing and also TPlays has been my dream. Actually, in my even master's time, in Rotterdam School of Management, my school has invited a portrait photographer to come to our school and then take photo of each one of us. And then it was called I Will campaign. And it's there, I will, and then dash, you fill the sentence. And my portrait and sentence below goes, I will change the perception of the Chinese cheap products. So at that time, I wasn't aware through which way. And afterwards, my work experience in brand management, in branding, then has make it even clearer through branding. And that's why I feel TPlays is, at the moment I found the direction and the category to go based on the authentic Chinese culture heritage. I would probably choose either ceramic, tea, or silk, something like this, as the Oriental culture. And from there onwards, I think adjustment is only on tactics, but I always had the conviction that no matter who is on my boat, my little boat will eventually arrive to the destination. Yeah.
And you will
Nice.
transform somehow, right?
Yeah. I start with slippers and then now I'm with leather shoes.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Okay. Hey, I actually hear you about talking about managing the millennium, all right? And I believe your company itself might have a mixture of Gen X, Gen Y, the millennium, and so on. So how kind of leadership do you think that you should equip in order to manage people of different generation?
I think it's I use a lot the tool MBTI in recruiting, although it's not a very like it's still
Accurate.
general, right? But for me, I think it's a good way to see who is fit for what specific positions. And secondly, I wouldn't say about generations, but I picked the right type of people. Like from day one, every single so far, like every position, I would be in the interview, at least the final interview. And I always like to ask, so I would always like to pick the people that are self-driven and the people that who can answer my question. What is your aspiration? Because this is a very, very rare type of people who can answer this question. And I don't want to have any. So even in my JD, as I say, if you're just searching for a job, this is not your place. And if you want to make a difference of your life, then you call us. And this is even written like just there. So they need to feel inspired when reading the JD and then come to us.
Right. Recently I was talking to a couple of HR company bosses, and we're
Yeah.
talking about aspiration. Well, many young people have the same or similar answer, which is we want a work-life balance. That is aspirations.
Then your
Very
counter is what? No work, no life.
no, my so the tagline for us is yeah, work hard, play hard, live hard. Yeah, we choose the type of people that uh holds very so treasure their time and really want to make a meaningful life, not only about working and make the best of the value to the company, but we try to align what do you want to do. I want to be a platform for you to grow better, to align our two interests. Then we can help you to be a better person. One day, if you have a better platform, we're happy you leave us because you can grow better. So that's why, like along the way, people even who left us now still come back to visit us. Yeah.
Interesting. Hey, now I got another question for you. Yes, which is that if there's any one company or one industry that you like to partner with, what would it be?
That's a good question.
I think so too.
Chief Growth Officer. That's why his question is good.
Oh, this is a question that usually I will ask, all right? I will ask a business owner. The reason why, because is that I don't believe doing business, in fighting the war alone, all right? It can't be a lone ranger. It's always a team fight these days, or a gang fight these days that we call it. Yeah. And yeah, to collaborate with people and to run the operation will be fun. I think that's one thing for sure. And at the same time, it will increase the success rate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a good question to think further and think deeply. I'll let you know.
Engage my service. Hopefully, I can work something out for you. Okay, now this question is probably to all the entrepreneurs. Okay, I would say that if there's one good advice to that you can provide, what would you want to share with the entrepreneur or any startup?
I think come back to what you are really passionate about and what you want to do for your life. I think that's the most, because perseverance, persistency and perseverance, and it's a long journey. It's a very painstaking journey. There are a lot of sleepless nights, and the reason why I love to be an entrepreneur is because it's exactly because of those sleepless nights. And I think it's a kind of personality, and I just do not thrive in corporates because I like to ask too many questions. And I think as long as you find yourself is this type, always want to make things better and try to make a difference in life. And then it's like come back to our true passion. And the next one will be how to make it. This is something I lack. I was missing for a lot of years. That's why I personally think I have wasted the beginning like 3 to 4 years very true to myself, what I want to do. But for entrepreneurs, for the latest several years, I come to realize that our passion, our love, our solution to the world has to be very well monetized to keep walking a longer journey. And then this is also the motivation, right? So like quickly validate the idea, and then before we think of building the perfect tank to put to the road. Yeah.
Okay, so just one day, right? It may not be, just assuming one day, right? Someone coming to you and tell you that, hey, I want to join this industry as what you are doing, all right? And do you think that we are able to work out? That means that they're selling tea as what you are doing. In other words, they can be your competitors. So would you want to give them advice?
Yeah, of course. I think so tea is huge. It's like it's a $1 trillion business. So it's not
There's enough for everybody.
Yeah, and also I think we need everybody here to educate the whole market, that more people are aware and then will like tea and drink tea. So I don't see any tea brand as competitor itself, and I love them because we are there for the same mission. Yeah.
So it sounds that you're very passionate about your business. And do you have an exit plan for your business?
Yeah, for day one, I wanted to sell to Unilever. And then because Unilever has such a Lipton, which is no longer had, and then they sold Lipton already, which I have foreseen it. But now my exit plan was thinking about LVMH one day for our think
fantasy
any cat
moment. Yeah.
uh I don't think any category matters so much. It's about um value of the business. So I think yeah, still on the way.
Cool, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so before we end the show, is there any one last advice that you want to share it with startup?
Or if I'm in the position to advise, is to keep our time laser focus. And something I have probably not doing very well is about sharing, and that's also one of the reasons I have agree with having this podcast. I think also try to use smartly the lever of sharing, because our time is very much on to the business itself, but sometimes like recording video podcast and periodically we share and we crystallize what we think is also the very good way to let out the words and then to let amazing things happen. Yeah.
Right. Okay,
Nice.
so
Where
one
can
last,
people find you,
yes.
Siyi? Yeah.
Hmm?
Where can people find you?
Oh, we are
On LinkedIn or your email or
LinkedIn, Shopify, which is like the website, IG, Facebook. Yeah, I can send you our links afterwards.
okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, we thank you very much for your time today, and I think the sharing was fantastic. Yes, some good insight where many may not know about traditional Chinese tea and the effort that you really put in just to promote it and to encourage the young to give it a try in a more innovative way to present it. Yes, so with it, right, we like to end the podcast today, and we definitely like to encourage everyone to do our free service by subscribing or have a share around with our podcast so that we can invite more business owners to share their wisdom, experience, and knowledge. So with that, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I really want to buy online. Do you ship to Japan?
Get one container, Joe. One container.
Very interestingly, at the Changi Airport, our second demographic, because they always will have to give the passport when they purchase in the airport. Our second demographic who love the products is Japanese, 22.8%. Yeah,
Wow, that's huge.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, considering as population relatively is small, but I think they like our, especially the tea bonbons in so kawaii.
かわいいね。そうですね。
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lee. Bye.
Bye.